Welcome to Dirt, Sweat, and Gears, your masterclass in halving ass. We are here in my project Prelude, and well, it's really not much of a project anymore because I'm done. I'm done with the car, and at the end of today, I'm gonna sell it. If you're not familiar with this Prelude, go back and check out my other videos. I've actually been working on this car for about 7 months now, and now that the work is done, I realized I haven't really driven it. So today, we're gonna drive it around town. We're gonna take it to a meet. We're going to stop at a few photo opportunities. And along the way, I'll tell you the story, not only of my journey with this particular car, but how that journey is a metaphor for life. And I believe that's true for most people, and it's certainly true for me. I picked up this car in December of 2023. The previous owner had gotten it into a wreck in 2009, and this car has been sitting ever since. He believed this car to have a salvage title. However, it had low mileage. 127.8 and change for a car like this is just barely broken in. So, and the interior was in good condition. So I thought, hey, why don't I pick up a parts car for cheap? I can strip out what I want from it and cobble back together an old wreck of a car that somebody will also want to pick up for cheap. So I go down there, check out the car, I agree to buy it. And I said under the condition that he come to the DMV so that we can resolve the title issue. And while we were at the DMV, we said, well, we have a salvage car that we'd like to get back on the road, and we're going to transfer the title so that I can get, you know, a transfer title without registration. Give me a chance to rebuild it. And the lady at the DMV started punching in the numbers, and she said, I don't see any evidence of a salvage here. And after talking back and forth between the seller and the person at the DMV desk, we determined that the car wasn't salvaged, he just lost the title. I don't know what the story really was. This is all speculation. What I do know for sure is that I had accidentally bought a clean title, low mileage Honda Prelude for $750. The accident damage was fixed in about a day. I got some new body panels, got a new control arm, and got some ball joints and everything, and swapped those in, and the crash damage was fixed. So that was pretty easy. But beyond the crash damage, the clutch had been broken because it was the original clutch, so the car was stuck in gear. We couldn't get the car out of gear, so he would just force it. So we'd force it into gear, force it out of gear, and that put stress on the shift cables. So the shift cables were bad, the clutch was bad, one of the axles was bad, so I had to fix all of that. And dropping the transmission was a huge project. These cars, it always is in these cars. And so while I was dropping the transmission, I learned that he had put stop leak in the engine. There was a hole in the radiator, not a big deal. Could have fixed that for pretty cheap, but instead he poured black sealer in it and pretty much ruined all of the cooling passages. So I had to fix that. While I was fixing the cooling passages, I broke the fast idle valve, had to replace that. The car also had its original timing belt. Yeah, that wasn't gonna fly, so I fixed that. New timing belt, drive belts, water pump, all of the oil seals in that assembly, the camshaft seals, the crankshaft seal, also the rear main seal while I was doing the transmission. This really was a redemption story, not just for the car, but for me. Just thinking back on my journey with my Prelude, I still have my Prelude. It has 303,000 miles. And over the 25 plus years that I have owned my Prelude, I've junked 2 Preludes to keep that on the road. And I have pulled parts from dozens of Preludes at Pick-a Parts. So in a sense, this was a redemption story for me. This was me saying, enough is enough. I have the skills, I have the experience. I'm going to save this car so that I can pay it forward to all the people that have helped me along the way in my journey. So my goal with this car was to bring it back to life, get it mechanically sorted, and then find a new owner who will continue this story, who will continue to build on it, who will work on the aesthetics, paint, bodywork, fix this tint, and really put themselves into this car to make it what they want of it. So that in 25 years, they can be as proud of this car as I am of my car. So in the first leg of our little adventure today, we're gonna head out to Cars and Coffee at the Bob's Big Boy in Norridge. I have only been to the Bob's Big Boy meets one time, and that was in my Maverick, and it was on a Friday night. So I really have no idea what to expect. Norridge is kind of where I grew up, or the Valley anyway, and this will give me a lot more opportunities to get photos with this car that I took of my car decades ago. And I think that'll be really interesting. It'll be exciting for me. It'll be a fun way to tell my story of my Prelude enthusiasm over the decades. I'll check in with you at the Bob's Big Boy Cars and Coffee in Norridge. A very, very small meet, much smaller than I expected. There's probably, what, 10, 15 people there, maybe? And it was all older cars, all, you know, kind of wing-a-dingas. But there were a couple of people that really appreciated the story that I had to tell about this car. The guy that I parked next to, yeah, he had the black Trans Am. He was obviously into 80s cars, and he had owned his for about as long as I had owned my Prelude. So he was really happy to hear my story, and I got to hear about his car. It was really cool. Just trading stories with somebody who had a passion for 80s cars. There was another guy with an El Camino that really took a liking to my car. Very cool to talk to him. I got to learn about his El Camino. It was a work in progress, but it was a complete car. And, you know, I have a few of those. So I definitely relate to his adventure. And then there was one guy, total wing-a-dinga guy, comes over, and I tell him about how I fixed up this car and I'm selling, and he's like, oh, you selling it for $2,500? I'm like, nah, dude, I got way more than that in this car. You know, it's like you get both ends of the spectrum at some of these meets. You really never know what you're walking into. That said, I'm looking forward to going back down to Escondido. On this next leg of our adventure, we're going to try to recreate some photos that I had taken of my Prelude back in the day. We're going to start by going to CSUN, my alma mater college. We're going to take some pictures there that I had featured of my car on my poster board when I take it to car shows. We're here at Cal State Norridge, and on my poster board I had featured my car here, outlooking the art department, which I was an art major, so this was kind of a second home to me for a while. And on the back of the car I had written out in tape, CSUN grad 2007. God, that was 17 years ago. Yeah, I know this is cheesy, but I don't know. Tyson Hughie would get a kick out of this. This is the top floor of one of the parking structures at CSUN. I had taken my car here back in the day to show off my new four-wheel steering. Now, this car doesn't have four-wheel steering. It's still a really nice place to take a photo. It was a lot of fun. I'm actually still pretty active at CSUN. I go there about twice a year to review portfolios and talk to students, aspiring professionals in user experience. User experience is a big part of the art department in the past several years, and it's just been a really great way of giving back. Next up in our adventure, I kind of wanted to go back to my old high school and recreate some photos there, but 39-year-old man trying to get into the gate to take pictures of his car, that's gonna be a little bit of a hard sell. I do go back there probably once a year because I have some friends that work there, but still, I kind of want to do that with the actual car that I had in high school. I don't need to do that in this car. It's not that important, especially since it's going to look a little weird. So next up, we're going to recreate one last photo. This is actually going to be in front of my grandparents' house because that'll be public property. I'll be parked on the street, and I won't have to worry about a security guard throwing me out for looking like some kind of creep. I also know the neighbors, so it'll be fine. So we're here in front of my grandparents' house. I'm gonna be kind of quiet, try to make this quick because people do live here. This house is still in the family, and it is a rental. I believe in the photo that I had taken, I was completely blocking the driveway, but again, people live here. I don't, and I want to respect that. But one of the first photos I ever took of my car after I bought it was right here in front of this house. And that began the journey that led me here to this car, hopefully starting someone else's story. Well, we're on the last leg of our adventure, which of course is to sell this car. I'm really glad I got to take this car out today because it really is a time machine. Now, everybody has that car, or car enthusiasts all have that car that takes them back in time. And while I do have the Prelude that I had back in the day when I was first getting into cars, I still have the car. It is more of an expression of who I am today than an embodiment of something that I once had and lost. And that's what being able to experience this car has captured for me. I was able to reconnect with the experience that I had when I first got into this car, which is really cool because it reignited the passion that I have for working on Preludes. You see, that car, it had reliability issues because it had so many miles on it, and I had to rely on it for so many years, and it just started to feel like a burden. But then over the past couple of years, I have been dumping lots and lots of work into it. I've really been challenging myself to turn that car around, to make it something that is presentable at car shows, to tell the story of my growth with this car and the car's evolution over time. And I think driving this car helped me reconnect with some of the things that I loved about this car in its purest form, and some of the things I hated. Like, I hate how long the shifter is, I hate how floaty the suspension is, but I love the clean interior. I love the way things look in here. I wouldn't say I love the motor, but I actually kind of hate the motor. I hate a lot of things about that motor. But I love the way it sounds. I love the way it feels when you put your foot into it. Lastly, driving a Prelude with air conditioning is absolutely amazing, which is why I'm so excited to do that work on my other Prelude. My God, this box truck is driving way too fast. So if you've been following this video series, obviously things are coming to an end with this car. But while my story with this car is ending, someone else's story is just beginning. And that is the coolest thing. And I've still got years and years and years left ahead with the other Prelude that I own. So you're still going to see plenty of Prelude content, just hopefully not every single week for 7 months. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you don't like what you see, well, leave a comment anyway. Let me know which car you think I should work on next. Here's the menu. My other 1989 Prelude, my 73 Maverick, my 53 Studebaker, my 83 Chevy S10, a 76 Chevy Camaro, a 76 Triumph TR7, or a 1990 Mazda Miata. Let me know which of those cars you want me to work on next. And I probably will still work on the Jeep anyway because I really need the Jeep on the road. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.